Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. Thanks for joining me again as we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. You can start at waynenet.org/cc. That's where you can find out more about today's guest and our past guests. You can also show the program to people who may not get it on their regular scheduled television programming because the program is available on demand and streaming. And more information about how to get connected to those feeds is on our website at waynenet.org/cc. I'd like to thank our producer, Jane Holman, and Waynet for making that possible, and the county commissioners and the WCTV staff for all of their support in getting this program to air. Today's program, we're going to focus on Wayne County Foundation. And for those of you that may not know, this is an excellent organization in our community that supports philanthropy and gets funds around to various agencies and individuals in our community that are also making Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. And somebody has to spear that up. And the spearhead in that organization right now is Rebecca Gilliam. She is formerly from Minnetrista Center and out of an educational facility in Indianapolis. And we're going to let her tell you more about herself as we introduce her to the show. Join me in welcoming Rebecca Gilliam. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Again, you are Rebecca Gilliam, the Executive Director of the Wayne County Foundation. And for most of our viewers who probably don't know you, how about you give us a little bit of bio? You've only been in the community about a year.
Yes, and it's been a strange year. So all those great activities that all of our nonprofit organizations usually host throughout the year, we haven't had those. So I haven't been out and about quite as much as I had hoped, but I grew up in Richmond. So this is a little bit of a homecoming for me. I've been back in this position. It's been actually just a smidge over 1 year. I joined the organization in December of last year. And I had spent some time working at several museums, Indianapolis and Muncie, and then had the opportunity to come back to Wayne County and join the Wayne County Foundation. And I couldn't be more excited. The work of the foundation is just incredible, and what an honor to be able to be a part of such a stellar organization in the community and help folks across the county meet their philanthropic goals. So I feel like I have the greatest job ever.
That is fabulous. I'd like to ask you while you're still there, what is one thing that you wish people knew about Richmond or Wayne County?
Well, first of all, there are lots of things to play, do, go see. It's a beautiful county. I mean, you've got your the farmlands, you have the city, there's amazing hiking. So you have all your outdoor activities. Then you have all your cultural and arts. We've got great restaurants, and you can go and know your neighbors. You can go to the grocery and see your friends and family. And I love the size of it. And in my world, the other piece that is so compelling about Wayne County is the incredible generosity. It is unreal to me how much people care in our county, and they want our community to be successful and grow and be vibrant for years to come.
It's sometimes easy when you're in a community to start seeing all the negatives and to complain about things that are not just perfect or not exactly the way you want them to be. And so it's really refreshing when we hear those voices that remind us, hey, yeah, we do have a pretty great community here. And that is really one of the focuses of our program, to promote Wayne County and to highlight those individuals and agencies. And speaking of agencies, let's get into the Wayne County Foundation. There are probably very few organizations in our community that are as familiar in name and unknown in activity and reach as the Wayne County Foundation. So tell us and our viewers about the foundation. What is it? What's its history? And what does it do in broad terms?
That is very true. And some of that is just as it should be. So we can be that behind the scenes organization that works with individuals and families, helps them to achieve their philanthropic goals, that lifetime and on into the future legacy that they want to leave behind. And we can do that all quietly in the background. And then what I think most in the community are probably used to seeing are the grants and scholarships that we make available out into the community through, our historically the spring grant cycle. We've done the challenge match, which is just wrapped up. So I think people do end up seeing some of those programs, but we're pretty quiet behind the scenes making all that happen because it's our agencies who are delivering the programs directly to our community, whether they are social service organizations working with clients or arts organizations adding to the livability in our community. So it's by design, but we certainly don't want to be hidden.
So you mentioned individuals, scholarships, and also agencies. You mentioned arts and social services programs. Let's talk a little bit about the scholarships first, because those are individual things. What kinds of scholarships are available through the Wayne County Foundation? Who's eligible, and what kind of an impact does that make, other than just one student not having to pay so much for freshman year?
Right. So our scholarships, the Wayne County Foundation, let me start here, that we have been around since the late 70s. So as you might imagine, there have been families and individuals over time that have recognized that there is an incredible need for support for students to continue their education. And whether that is credentialing, 2-year, 4-year degree, we have scholarships that support all types of education into the future. And these have all been established by either an individual or a family, sometimes a business that has that vision, that sees that need. And we work with the schools in the county, with the students. There's traditional application process, and we hope to put money back into the students to support that continuing education. And in general, on an average year, you're looking at about 312 scholarships that are awarded, and about $415,000. So it's a pretty significant piece of the work we do, and education has always been a priority for the donors who give through the foundation, as well as the work of the foundation.
That's a pretty significant impact. And I know that there are billboards up with the Lilly grants, Lilly
Yep.
scholarship in the, every summer, and those are kind of interesting. And that's one way, and the Wayne County Foundation logo is right there. And so people might see that, but 300 plus students
Yes.
on a year, that's a lot of families and a lot of investment in our community.
It is. And this is where I say there have been so many wonderful individuals who could see down the road and recognize that this is something that can have a long-term impact in our community. So these scholarship programs are very valuable, and a number of them, it really, they help right in our own backyard. They are helping to support students that are going to the different institutions right here in Wayne County. They're supporting the kids that are coming out of the schools right here in Wayne County. That's what the other piece that I think is really neat about a community foundation is that we are working with dollars that oftentimes have been earned through businesses and organizations right here in the county, and then we turn around and provide grants back to organizations and students right here in Wayne County. So it's really local giving and local impact. So that's really neat.
And an analogy came to mind while you were saying that. It's almost as if we're harvesting some of the fruit and using it as seeds to plant back and to regrow our community.
Yes.
The other agency there, the other aspect that you mentioned a few minutes ago was the arts and social service agencies. And that's a big part of funding. And that's where just coming through the matching grant, challenge grant session just recently wrapped up, that a lot of people heard about Wayne County Foundation and were approached by the individual agencies that were involved in the challenge. Great. So talk to us, not specifically about the challenge, although that's important, but bigger picture, the agencies that are served and how that impacts their ability to thrive in this community.
Sure. So I think the way we look at it is that many agencies across the county are really trying to deliver programs directly to their end users. And oftentimes they need additional support. They get local donors. The Community Foundation also has donors that we can identify these projects, really dig in, see what they're doing. So we provide project support for things that are sometimes new, sometimes ongoing. We also, another part of the work we do is general operating and sustainability. How are our agencies able to serve our community over the long term? Do they have the tools they need? Do they have the resources they need to make that happen? So that's another role that the Wayne County Foundation can provide through education about endowment building, training on specific aspects of nonprofit management and leadership, as well as funding to support the work that they're doing.
As a volunteer with the Richmond Community Theater, with the Richmond Civic Theater, I've been on stage, I've been behind stage, and somebody has always asked every season, why are tickets so expensive? You guys aren't even professionals. We're like, well, we think we are, we just don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. You mentioned the operating expenses and the behind the scenes. I mean, just keeping the building open, if the ticket prices had to be high enough to cover just the maintenance on the building, we wouldn't have anybody able to attend. The ticket prices are a small function of the budget, and that's true of a lot of agencies.
Absolutely. Oftentimes the product they're producing or the constituent or audience that they're serving, if you add up every single thing that is needed to produce that, it would be cost prohibitive to the community. And as a community, we've decided that we think it's incredibly valuable to have a vibrant arts community, to have social services and safety net programs. So individual donors recognize that they can provide support to those. And that's the role we play. We can help link donors and their interests with the great organizations who are doing that work.
And historically in America, we're familiar with the big donors, the Rockefellers and so forth of days gone by. And we still have this expectation that people who have been very successful and have accumulated great wealth will invest that back in their communities. And sometimes for the lower wage earner, lower income earner, lower, even middle class in today's economy, it's difficult to make an impactful contribution. But the challenge grant through the Wayne County Foundation allows really everybody to engage in philanthropy.
Sure. Well, and I will say that I really do believe there's not a gift that's too small, because you are seeing either a need, you're addressing it, and you can make that happen at any level. The other piece is that the foundation, that's exactly, we can bring together a lot of, pretty average sized donors. I'm sure average gifts are in that $25 to $50, maybe up to $100. Those are still very important, but can you bring a lot of those folks together and be able to do some grant making that is a little bigger, a little more of an impact to achieve those desired goals? So yes, the challenge match is one way to try and spur some of that giving, to really help people maximize the funds that they want to give. Also, our grant making programs, those are all funds that have been donated over time that we're able to invest, and with the earnings, we can put that back into the community. So it's kind of a collective impact approach.
So you've mentioned the collective impact just now, and earlier you mentioned the spring grant cycle and the challenge match, which happens in the fall. What's one of the common misconceptions that people have about where the funds come from that you would like to dispel?
Well, I'm not. I think it's a little bit of a mystery all the way around. So I can, and there's no good way that just the individual would know unless you've been more involved with the foundation. So what might be helpful to understand is that individuals oftentimes they give annually to their favorite charities. Then as they're thinking about their end of life giving, what they would like to leave behind after they pass, a community foundation can step in and help, because we're the voice of the donor and we can speak on their behalf well beyond their lifespan. So if somebody is very passionate about an area of interest, or sometimes they know that we have lots of donors that recognize that Wayne County is going to change over time, and that we're going to have needs come and go. We're going to have areas of impact, areas we want to make an impact on. And as a community foundation, we are charged with doing that research, understanding what the needs are in the community, and then those dollars can be directed to those specific areas. And we invest dollars, there's earnings, and the money that we're able to give back is based on the earnings of those early donations and the ones that we see year after year.
So you mentioned earlier, and everybody is aware here in December of 2020, that this has been a very strange year compared to our history and recent memory, and even long-term memory of some of our older residents. So how did giving in 2020, especially at the end of the year, compare with the expectations that had to be adjusted for the situation, the cultural situation?
So I will say that I think in March, there was a lot of fear and concern. We saw a sharp decline in the stock market. People start to get anxious. We shut down our economy. Everyone's nervous. Are we going to be able to go back to work? How's that going to look? So yes, the spring was a lot of anxiety. And, I was able to have some great conversations with our nonprofit community, and that's worrisome that, they're working to deliver on their missions and you just don't know how to do it. This is where I am so proud and encouraged to live in Wayne County. Our community has risen to the occasion. As needs have come up, needs are being met. As we get a call for something specific in an area, you find those donors who are able to redirect some of their annual funds to that specific need. So what we have seen through, most recently through the challenge match, we exceeded last year's giving. So we saw an increase. I know that some organizations, probably it depends on what their organization's mission is. I am sure some are still highly struggling, especially organizations that haven't been able to have visitors. I think of like a theater company or an arts organization that was forced to shut down much longer than some of our social service agencies. That's really tough. So I know that some have seen a bit of a dip, but overall giving is, from what we're seeing, is at least comparable, if not a little better overall. And I'm certain we can slice it and dice it, and there's some that didn't feel that, but overall it is better.
Well, certainly the need was greater, so it's amazing that giving was actually greater at the end of the year. So there are funds that are received, and you mentioned philanthropy and local donors, lots of times throughout the program. Can you speak in a little bit broader terms about where does all of the money come that is going out to these social service agencies, arts agencies, and scholarships? Where does that come from?
These are from individuals and families who have made a gift to the foundation. They've created a fund here, and it sometimes is specific. So we have individuals who have very specific funds, and every year a percentage of that gets distributed to a specific organization. Others are open. So of all the funds that families and individuals have established at the foundation, we end up with an annual pool of dollars that can be used for grant making.
Okay.
So it's about, in general terms, I can say it's about 4.5% of our assets.
Okay. And then there are some other activities as we come near the end of our program that we want to talk about from the Wayne County Foundation. One, which may, again, be one of those where people have heard of it, but they don't really know what it is and its history and so forth, is Forward Wayne County. It has the same initials, slightly rearranged.
It is.
Has a little different initiative, directly involved, but separate from the Wayne County Foundation. And then I'm going to say, what does that all mean, Rebecca?
So Forward Wayne County is a part of the Wayne County Foundation. It is a project or program, I guess, that we initiated to provide community leadership. It's considered in its technical terms a backbone organization. So what we do is we work with businesses and agencies and organizations, and we try to bring together the experts, the resources, and the, I'll say, network and leverage to try to tackle a project or a topic or a task that is bigger than any one organization might be able to do on its own. And we know that Wayne County, like all counties, have those things. So a big issue that we know we need to tackle, whether that is, you know, we want to raise the educational attainment of our citizens, raise the median household income, improve connectivity across the county. Some of these projects require the resources and the support from numerous organizations because not a single independent organization could do it on its own. That's where Forward Wayne County backbone organization comes into play. We have a staff person that's dedicated to this work, convening these groups to tackle these issues, and then also working out into actually beyond Wayne County to find some additional resources to put against that work.
So one of the things that I want to touch on as we come really down to the last couple of minutes here is in the news recently, it was announced that the Wayne County Foundation received a grant from Lilly that is part of a bigger project. I mean, this is one small piece of a longer term project. Talk real quickly about that, and then we'll come to the wrap-ups, how people can learn more.
So that is really a good example of what Forward Wayne County can do. We had the opportunity to receive the grant from Lilly. Those dollars are going to be spent on areas that we know that there is need. Employability, we're going to be launching a large awareness campaign for our most needed employment across the county. We also are trying to uplift all the main streets across the county. We believe that vibrant downtowns can lead to growth in the neighborhoods, in the schools. It all works together. And then we're also doing some in-depth neighborhood development, trying to strengthen our individual neighborhoods so that we have really great places to live and play. So that's, and those dollars are going straight to that work through grant making as well as infrastructure building programs.
All right. Well, we've talked about a lot of agencies. We talked about scholarships, social service agencies, arts foundations, neighborhood development, Main Street development. And it's not just Main Street in Richmond. It's the core of the city, no matter how big the city is. And all of these things sound really great, but we don't have time to talk about them anymore. So where can people who are interested learn more?
Well, you certainly can jump on our website. Our webpage is waynecountyfoundation.org. That's a good launching point. We are active on Facebook. We're getting better at Twitter. And so you can find it at, again, Wayne County Foundation. And call us. You have questions. I love talking to individuals and helping them figure out if the Wayne County Foundation can support the work they're doing, either as a nonprofit organization or an individual looking for a way to give back. So give us a call.
And that was the other side of it too. If you're interested in supporting and flexing your philanthropic muscles, philanthropy, contact Rebecca or the Wayne County Foundation.
Absolutely.
Last question, 5 seconds. What's one goal that you have for the foundation in the near future?
I want to be more proactive in our grant making, really attack and get into those projects that are going to improve our community. So that's getting to know our nonprofit community even more and really finding a way to leverage our grant dollars.
Did you hear that, Wayne County? Rebecca Gilliam wants to give your agency money. You need to talk to her, and she's looking for that. Rebecca Gilliam, the Executive Director of the Wayne County Foundation and Forward Wayne County, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I am Michael Sweigart, your host. And I am thankful for you joining us again this month for another exciting episode. Again, visit our website at waynenet.org/cc for additional information about today's program and how you can get connected to the Wayne County Foundation, also to past programs, to do your part to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. As this is airing over the holiday season, I would like to, on behalf of Jane Holman, our producer, and the staff at Whitewater Community Television, wish you the happiest of holidays, Merry Christmas, and a most prosperous and joyous New Year. Thanks for watching. See you next month.